To highlight the 10-year anniversary of the school this year, Cup of Joe is putting together a series of documentaries where we highlight different aspects of the school over the last 10 years. This is part 1 of One Dream, 10 In.
The years leading up to 2014, the Gordon Tech enrollment kept dropping, and I believe it was at a low of somewhere around 350 kids.
I think the average class size or like grade size was about 120 students, and I had heard many stories about how in the early 90s, late 80s, the entire school had like 1,500 students.
We knew that there was a need on the north side of Chicago for another Catholic school, or that the north side could handle another Catholic school. And so there was interest on the part of many people, but DePaul University was one of the groups that was really interested in helping to develop and keep that school open.
The important thing for DePaul University is education, right? And creating the next generation of leaders. And they saw a need, and we saw a need, many of us saw a need to serve the families of Chicago who were looking for another Catholic high school option. So there were still about 225 students at Gordon Tech, and we as a board decided it was really important to educate those students and to graduate them if possible. So we continued to educate the remaining Gordon Tech students, and we welcomed a freshman class of 93 students to DePaul College Prep.
There was lots of work to be done in terms of curriculum and faculty development, and just starting to grow all the different areas of the school that needed to be grown because we anticipated that we were going to get bigger.
It just really had that old kind of school, Chicago school vibe. But that being said, because it was such an old building, there were trade-offs with that. You know, no AC, it would get very hot in August and May and June.
It's almost like it was a whole nother school, because when we left that campus, we had just about 700 students or so. So we had grown substantially in 2 years, but it was just a different building, it was a different set of, not a different set of students, but just students that had been in the Gordon Tech system for a long time.
We really pretty early on started thinking about a campus that would be our own. And we also had to think about just the culture and climate of the school itself, and most importantly, financial stability.
Hey guys, it's Ashley with a new construction update. Well, there's nothing really to report on construction, but we have been working on contracts, issuing out permits, and working with the new architects. We're set to start construction in January. We'll see you then.
And so we looked at a variety of locations on the north side, and gradually over the course of a couple of years, we identified the campus on which we now sit. But then we had to figure out how we were going to pay for it. So we launched a capital campaign in 2019 in a quiet phase that looked at how we would acquire a campus and improve it. That capital campaign called One Dream All In. Everything we've done with facilities, with acquisition of this campus, and with building out all the facilities has been done not with tuition dollars, because tuition dollars support operations, salaries for the faculty and the staff, and things of that nature. The capital campaign is entirely separate, and we received great support from some of our current families, some of our future families, and some corporations and foundations. So the first thing we did was acquire the campus in 2019. In 2020, we had already started planning with our architects and contractors what the campus would look like, because this was an existing DeVry University Chamberlain School of Nursing. So it was an existing school, but there was no stadium. That was a parking lot. The classrooms that were here were not really suited to our needs necessarily, so we had to retool and rebuild and actually renovate and create science labs, the maker labs, a lot of classroom spaces.
The dining hall was a huge room of cubicles, office cubicles, and the chapel was a really small cafeteria and a classroom. So we had to make the chapel, we had to redefine the dining hall space. For a year and a half leading up to this move, students were involved. We call it a design charrette. Students were working alongside of the architects and telling them what they hope for in the dining hall, what they hope for. Like, one of the things that kids said is, we really want to be in spaces that are light and bright. The old campus was a little bit dark. It still had windows, but it wasn't super bright. So this building really met that need because we've got windows everywhere. They wanted open spaces. They had some very specific things they wanted in the dining hall. The high tops were one of them. The round tables were one of them. And being in a space that was really bright, which is why we positioned the dining halls where they are. The pandemic was definitely an added layer of massive stress for everybody, right? It was tough because this building was under renovation and, work was a little funky then, right? Could people be working in close proximity to each other? Materials, all the supply chain issues sort of impacted when things could arrive. But all that said, this building finished on time and we were able to open in time.
So the first thing we did in 2020 after the plans were completed was to renovate the west wing and to build the outdoor stadium. We continued to raise money, and in 2021, in the summer, we renovated the east wing. There had been a nursing school in there. So we kept some classrooms and a lot of offices we knocked down and created all those wonderful classrooms on the second floor of the east wing. Those had all been little tiny offices. And we created large classrooms. We created the black box theater. We created the weight room. We renovated the library space. We created Corboy Hall. And that's what we were able to do in the summer of 21. And then, of course, last October, in October of 2022, we began construction of the south wing. Again, we had to raise the money to pay for that before we built it. So we've concluded that construction in August of this year, and you started classes in it this year as well.
Our current campus feels much more modern in a lot of ways. The central AC especially is fantastic.
It's all part of a planning process. It's all part of working with the architects. It's all part of working closely with the contractors and being part of a whole campus master plan. But again, we've raised and invested directly back into this campus $35 million. Yes, $35 million. And we have more to do. We really, truly are DePaul College Prep. We aren't anybody else but DePaul College Prep today.